Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order. I kindly ask our city clerk to please take the roll call.
Bruno?
Here.
Burkhart? Here. Ruby? Caven?
Here.
Kilberg?
Here.
Kasarag?
Here.
Maladra?
Here.
Marks?
Here.
Mayor? Here. Swanson?
Here. Earlier this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I had the pleasure of visiting with the Williamsburg Girl Scout Troop, number 315, and we discussed everything about Geneva. We talked about Thanksgiving. We talked about when the Dunkin' was opening. Literally. We talked about all sorts of stuff, didn't we? We had a good conversation. Part of earning your, is it government badge? Yeah. Government badge. So, and these ladies have promised me and all of you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Then following that, if you guys had anything you'd like to add, then we're going to invite you to the podium, okay? So we're going to follow your lead, okay, ladies? Well done. Now, is there anything anyone would like to say prior to departing? There's no homework this week because there's no school, so life is good. These ladies except for one, they're all fifth graders. So 9 and 10 years old, 10 and 11 years old. Anything you want to ask any of the council members that you learned about earlier? When are the leaves being picked up? Anything like that? We're just waiting for strong winds to blow them into St. Charles. So, the first drop of leaves was so immense that we got a little bit delayed. But we come back. If you've only been picked up once, there's still 2 more. So, plenty of time. Plenty of time. Or just mulch over them, right? Or blow them in your neighbor's house. Yeah. So, well, you live on Gray, so you can just let them go over. Yeah, right to St. Charles, man. They've got nothing but money over there. Well, ladies, you're more than welcome to stick around for the meeting. It should be fairly brief. So, but if you need to leave, I totally understand as well. Okay? So without further ado, we'll begin the meeting. I emailed the City Council earlier today on the off chance they had not heard the news of a good friend of our communities, Mr. Jim Riley, the founder of Riley Drugs here in Geneva, passed away this past Thursday at the tender age of 94. For those of you who aren't aware, Mr. Riley not only opened and ran Riley Drugs for decades, but also served on the Chamber of Commerce Board, served on the City Council, served on the Planning Commission, and was a well-respected volunteer throughout his career here. His wife Florence passed away just a few years ago, and Jim lived his golden years, as it were, in Greenfields. We send our condolences to his sons Mike and Tim and their extended families, and I was just hoping to begin tonight's meeting with a moment of silence to recognize not only Mr. Riley's service, but to let his family know that we're thinking about him. Thank you. And on another sad note, and you forgive me for blending these two, but I wanted the council to know that I sent a letter earlier today to John Suthers, the mayor of Colorado Springs, and I wanted him to know and the entire Colorado Springs community to know, in particular the LGBTQ plus community to know, that Geneva stands with the mayor, the community, the LGBTQ plus community, against all hatred and all bigotry. We mourn the loss of the 5 young men and women who were killed and the 18 plus who were injured. It is a devastating blow to that community, which, if any of you know, is a very tight-knit and small community. Club Q was a haven for and the centerpiece of the LGBTQ plus lives in Colorado Springs. It was the heart of their community. That heart has been shattered, and I just wanted them to know that publicly we share with them our sympathies and our condolences. with that. Any amendments to the agenda, ladies and gentlemen? Item 5 is the omnibus agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine and can be acted upon with one motion. Is there such a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes, sir.
I'd have one question relating to September financial report, if we could break that out.
Oh, of course.
That's all.
Just a friendly little amendment there, no problem. So the omnibus agenda without item 7A. Is there a motion? I believe that was Mr. Marks makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bruno makes the second. Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
All right, Marks?
Aye.
Mayor? Aye. Swanson?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Burkhart? Aye. Caven?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
The omnibus agenda has been approved with 9 votes in the affirmative, 0 votes in the negative, and 1 absent. We jump to item 7A, which has been removed from the consent agenda by Mr. Kilberg. 7A is the September financial reports. There's a question by Mr. Kilberg. Mr. Kilberg, the floor is yours.
Stephanie, I was wondering if you might be able to give us some type of an update on the progress we've made with utility delinquencies, utility bill delinquencies, and if you've seen that we're having any luck there.
Are you referring to the ones back during COVID?
The delinquents.
Yeah, I don't have that information today. It's been a while since I got a report from Rita, but we had pretty much cleared up most of those.
Okay.
But I can get that
Yeah, there,
information to you.
I don't believe there's anything in the financial reports that would indicate how we're progressing there.
Yeah, I can get
Oh,
that
that's
to the
great.
council.
I'm sorry, I should have dropped you a note on that before the
No
meeting.
worries.
But, yeah, I think we've got about 9 months since I think we sort of, was that when we
Because
discussed
we
this
did,
last?
yeah, we did a kind of a payment plan to move the
Right.
COVID expenses over, and that all expired.
In May, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm not even sure what month I'm in right now, so, but but we had made some progress, so I will ask Rita to give me an update, and I will get that to
Great.
the council.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the financial reports? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the report as presented. Swanson made the motion, I believe, and Mayor made the second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The report has been accepted with 9 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 1 absent. We jump to number 9, other items and correspondence, and that, of course, is 9A, to recommend acceptance of the strategic plan priorities for fiscal year 2024. Mr. Marks makes the motion, Ms. Burkhart makes the second. Any questions for Ms. Dawkins? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? 9 affirmative votes, 0 nay votes, and 1 absent. Item 9A has been approved by this council and accepted accordingly. Number 10, municipal bills for payment. We kindly ask the clerk to remind us that we're all buying Thin Mints from the Girl Scouts and to pay the bills in their aggregate.
Absolutely. The bills are $2,999,672.77.
A lot of cookies.
Mayor, I move that we approve and pay the bills as read. The individual items that add up to that amount can be found in tonight's city council packet.
Mr. Bruno makes the motion to pay the bills as presented, which are available on the city's website and in each council member's packet. Is there a second to that motion? Second. Mr. Kosarog makes the second. Ms. Clerk, whenever you're ready, please take the roll.
All right. Bruno?
Aye.
Burkhart? Aye. Caven?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor? Aye. Swanson?
Aye.
With 9 votes in the affirmative, 0 votes in the negative, and 1 absent, the municipal bills have been approved for payment. We jump to, folks, check this out, item 12A. Consider approval of ordinance number 2022-47, amending Title 4, Chapter 2, Liquor Control, Section 4-2-13, adding 2 Class A5 liquor licenses for Bien Truca at 410 West State and Bien Truca Kitchen at 416 West State. Is there a motion?
So, second.
Motion by Mr. Caven, seconded by Mr. Bruno. Ms. Dawkins?
Okay, I think the packet explained this fairly well, but the Bien Truch Group has submitted an application to add a Class A5 liquor license for both of their locations. This license would authorize the retail sale for consumption off-premise of specialty packaged alcohol or spirits sold by the bottle, wine sold by the bottle or case, and craft beer sold by the pack or case. It also would allow for to-go mixed drinks, which is a change in the law since COVID. The applications have been reviewed and are recommended for approval as presented this evening.
And our friend Pat, the applicant, is here tonight, if there are any questions specifically for him. Otherwise, Ms. Clerk, take the roll.
All right. Caven.
Aye.
Kasserag.
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Bruno.
Aye.
Burkhart.
Aye.
And Caven. Oh, sorry.
Give him-
Oh,
Just
man.
in case.
He gets 2 votes.
It was that important.
Any concern about this, ladies?
And Kilberg.
You're good?
Aye.
Kilberg.
Yeah. What the heck, man?
He gets 2 votes.
Let's ask Bruno again, too. With 9 votes in the affirmative, 0 votes in the negative, and 1 absent, items covered under item 12A have been approved. Item 12B is to consider approval of resolution number 2022-101, authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Transportation for land acquisition associated with the East State Street, Illinois Route 38 reconstruction project. Oh, it's Resolution 100, not 101. That was a typo, forgive me. Is there a motion? Mr. Kosarog, the second, Mr. Marks. Ms. Dawkins?
Okay, so as you may or may not be aware, the city has been actively working with the Illinois Department of Transportation to reconstruct East State Street between the Fox River and Glengarry Road. As part of this process, additional right-of-way will need to be secured. Some of you may recall in 2019, you passed a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a local agency agreement for federal participation with IDOT in the state of Illinois to secure certain right-of-way parcels associated with this project. In addition, we have requested the use of the state's Quick Take Authority. So this evening before you, the resolution and agreement confirms and summarizes those commitments yet again, referred to in a letter of intent between the city and IDOT dated November 2016. Again, regarding the land acquisition activities to be performed by the city and IDOT for the proposed construction project. So, if you have any additional questions, Director Babica is here, but you may have seen this document once or twice before, but this is the latest and greatest.
Ladies, this is a matter concerning the entire rebuilding of the East State Street from the river all the way to Virginia. No, all the way to about the, Aldi?
McDonald's.
Glengarry, McDonald's, yes. So, any questions for Mr. Babica or Ms. Dawkins, Mr. Kilberg?
Maybe it would be, it'd be helpful to explain what is meant by the state's Quick Take Authority, that terminology.
Since Director Babica is here this evening, I'll let him address that.
The Quick Take Authority is a legal authority entrusted to the state of Illinois to ensure that projects do not get delayed within the negotiating process for land acquisition. So as the process goes through a normal land acquisition process, once the state comes to a verification on the property value, they then make that offer to the property owner, and if the property owner decides to choose that or to oppose that, it gets resolved in the legal process after the land acquisition has already been acquired. So in essence, the state determines what the value of the property is. They then meet with the property owner. If they can agree on the price, fantastic. If they cannot, rather than having the project get delayed years and years while the final determination is litigated, it is litigated after the fact.
So on the surface, it would appear to sound like eminent domain to a sense, but it's something less than that.
It's something substantially less than eminent domain. In eminent domain, the whatever the governing agency is taking the property without an opportunity to appeal it. In this case, what it is that rather than have state projects get bogged down through the negotiating process, it's a legal tool that the state is allowed to negotiate after the fact to a final resolution.
One other question, Rich. Just so people have a little bit of an idea what we're really talking about here. A lot of this is somewhat less than a couple of feet, as it might relate to some of these properties. They're really all pretty small parcels, aren't they?
Yeah, the average acquisition is less than 18 inches, but the vast majority of the properties are actually temporary construction easements, which allow the state, the city, as well as the general contractor to work beyond the typical right-of-way. For example, if you have a driveway approach, by the time they widen it out, your driveway approach grade may be a little bit more dramatic than it is now. So the construction easement allows the general contractor to soften the grading of your driveway approach or regrading. That's the vast majority of these parcels, but in the state of Illinois, they consider a temporary construction easement the same thing as a land acquisition.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Mr. Bruno?
Thank you, Mayor. This has been percolating for so long. It's not in the packet here. Have the precise parcels been defined? Do property owners know that this is on their, they're going to be approached? I can't remember if we saw a map one time with it all delineated.
The parcels have been identified, the plats have been finalized with the state of Illinois, but the property owners have not been contacted. The property owners cannot legally be contacted for the land acquisition process until all the final I's have been dotted and T's have been crossed, and hopefully this is that last I or T that has to be crossed.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Mr. Kosarog, then back to Mr. Kilberg.
I guess I'm just curious what the need is. Is this at the request of Illinois,
State, yeah.
the state?
This is at the request of IDOT, so that even though it is state right-of-way, and we are acquiring property for the project in the state's name because it is their roadway, but we are doing the work, it allows us to use their process.
I guess I was more asking about doing it for the third time or fourth time.
The state has yet again asked us to do this
Okay.
again.
That's part of what I was asking. Thank you.
We did not go to them and say, hey, can we do this again?
I know, right? Thank
That
you.
is a heavy dollop of diplomacy there.
Gotcha.
Mr. Kilberg?
Yeah, one last question. For the benefit of the public, you might provide a little bit of a timetable again as to it relates to the project, and I think I've had some questions in regard to it, and I know it's a little bit of a moving target, but to the best of your knowledge, would you share what it might look like here over the next few years?
Sure. Well, the first formal meeting was in 2012 with City Engineer Dinges and Director of Public Works Talsma, meeting with IDOT. So it's gone through quite a number of staff on this project. The project will consist of a reconstruction and widening, and it's a complete streets program, so there's also going to be bike paths installed. The project basically runs from the landing of the Fox River Bridge and proceeds east up to a little bit past Glengarry. Glengarry is probably the easiest eastern description. It includes a widening of Route 38 from roughly East Side Drive to about Kane, which will allow for a common turn lane. When the goal of the common turn lane is to eliminate that left-bound movement on either side, stopping traffic flow. The traffic signals will be interconnected from Kirk Road to Route 25. There will be a bike lane installed on the south side of Route 38 from right around Nebraska, moving east to Kirk Road. And There will be landscape amenities installed on both sides. The project actually has 3 different styles of landscape amenities. It is not meant to mirror image West State Street. East State Street has its own character and flair. It has a combination of residential, commercial, and industrial uses, and each of the amenities has a distinct flair to recognize that. The sidewalks and curb ramps will all be ADA compliant, Americans with Disabilities Act compliant, and the roadway, there's new water main, new sanitary being installed. The new storm sewer, which will be compliant with the current Kane County Stormwater Ordinance, will be installed to enhance drainage. And we'll also be extending new water main 8-inch leads out to the side streets to set the table for eventually improving the water services on those neighborhoods north and south of 38 with new water main as we progress into future capital projects.
So that's great. The timeline then, as to when we break ground, I know this is a moving target, and I know that we're not holding you to anything here because the state's so instrumental in moving this project forward. But we're really looking at 2023, to some extent 24 and 25, right?
Well, actually, we're looking at a construction date of 24 and 25. It's a 2-year project. Land acquisition is anticipated to take 9 months, so our targeted letting is November of 23
Okay,
for construction to start in the spring of 24.
okay.
First year is anticipated to be utility work, installing the new water mains, moving other utilities out of the way for the eventual road program, and then the second year will be the actual road construction itself.
Thank you.
And I would just make a point of clarification. Phase 1 started in 2005.
Yeah, I know.
As a landscape project.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter, it started in 2005.
It's a little bit of shell game. The money was there, and then the money was gone. The money
Exactly.
was there, and the money was gone. But total dollars involved with this project,
Well, there are a number of different funding sources for this. The state of Illinois is contributing. We have federal transportation money. We have ITEP money, which is infrastructure transportation something enhancement program. Thank you, sir. We have CMAQ money, which is congestion mitigation and air quality improvements. There's surface transportation funding from the local council of mayors. And then there's TIF funding, and then infrastructure funding, and the enterprise funds. Each of the enterprise funds, the water utility and the wastewater utility, as well as the electric utility, are also having paying for portions of the project. All told, it tentatively right now, and we're updating these numbers as we speak, it's right about 22 million.
and recently passed infrastructure legislation, federal infrastructure legislation. Now, those funds that funnel back to the state of Illinois, that makes the likelihood of Illinois' funds being available to us a lot, I would think, would be dramatically improved. Wouldn't you say that?
We're not privy to how the state is making their contributions. We have the letter of commitment that was referred to from 2016, where they committed to their funding, and where that pot originates from, I can't speak to.
Okay, thank you.
anyone else for Mr. Babica? We have a motion and we have a second. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Katsarag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor. Aye. Swanson,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Berghardt. Aye. Caven,
Aye.
Kilberg.
Aye.
Item 12B has been approved with 9 affirmative votes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 0 no votes and 1 absent. Our last item tonight, folks, item 12C, consider approval of resolution number 2022-101, authorizing execution of a paratransit subsidy agreement with Pace Suburban Bus as presented, effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, subject to available funding in the fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24 budgets.
So moved.
Mr. Kilberg makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Bruno makes the second. Questions, or excuse me, Ms. Dawkins, forgive me.
Okay, so you've all seen this before. In fact, last year this time, we brought the same agreement forward. So the Riding Cane program was implemented in February of 2008. It provides community access for senior citizens, 65 years or older, and persons with disabilities. Through a centralized call center, Riding Cane dispatches Pace lift-equipped buses for demand response curb-to-curb transportation. The program is made possible by federal grants from the Regional Transportation Authority and contribution from participating agencies. The agreement for your consideration this evening outlines the service and subsidies to be provided by PACE and the city's responsibilities. Again, as I mentioned, this is an annual agreement, and the estimated local share for 2023 calendar year is about $18,000. We traditionally budget about $30,000 each year, just to ensure we don't go over, but so far we've never met that amount, so we're usually pretty good. So, any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions for Ms. Dawkins, Ms. Burghardt.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say recently someone came into my life who's a senior, and she grew up in Evanston, never learned to drive, and now is living out in the far suburbs and was really struggling with transportation. And I was able to suggest Riding Cane to her, and it's been like a game changer for her. And, I think all of us who got our license at 16 and have our cars and just tootle around town without thinking about it. It's just really interesting when you meet someone, she had a life event that prompted her to move out farther, and it's a great service, and it's really served her well. So I'm really glad to vote for this tonight. So thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, please take the roll.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor. Aye. Swanson,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Burghardt. Aye. Caven.
Aye.
With a vote of 9 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 1 absent, item 12C has been approved by this council. That brings us to item 13, public comment, new business. Ladies, this is your chance. Any questions of what you've endured? How many of you are leaving town for Thanksgiving? Well, I know you're going to Decatur. Where's everyone else going? Where? Minnesota. Life is good. It's milder there. That's nice. Where else? Anywhere fun? Minnesota's fun, of course. Do you have any questions for anyone on the council tonight? Forgive me, we do have one more item of business, that is whether or not to cancel school for the remainder of the year. Do you wish to comment on that? So, moms, do you wish to comment on that? Opposed? This is going to be an ugly debate. From the dais, new business.
One of a very active committee member was recognized last week, Jay Womack, who's on our environmental committee. Congratulations to Jay and his contributions over the last 2 or 3 decades to Geneva and the betterment of our environment.
Well-deserved recognition. Folks, this brings us to the bewitching hour. First one to offer a motion to adjourn wins dinner for 2 at the mill race. Oh. Alderman Mayor makes the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Microphones and cameras are being turned off.